Welcome to the Stage 3 recap of the ABSA Cape Epic in 2025. We have Team Cycle Sports, Zach Calton and Alex Wild with us. Excited to have you guys. You guys had a good day. Moved up 3 spots on GC. I'm going to go over the stats really quick here. You took 24th on the stage, 3 hours and 41 minutes and 48 seconds of riding. That puts you, if I can see far enough away, that's 19 minutes behind the winning team. Your GC position, like I said, you went to 29th, so you made up some ground from yesterday's flat debacle that you guys dealt with. You're at 11 hours, 38 minutes of all full gas racing. You're 1 hour, 10 minutes behind the leader as of now. You guys had a fantastic day on the hottest day. It was over 104 degrees, so over like 40, It was over 40 degrees Celsius today. What was that heat like, Zach?
Yeah, I mean it was like you could tell right away in the morning it was going to be hot. They moved the start up, shortened the stage, and but yeah, there was a particular climb that was kind of sun facing, maybe 2.5 hours in, and it was like that side of your cheek. I think the way Alex described it, which is fitting, is that it felt like your face was vibrating. It was like just crazy hot.
Jeez.
Yeah, but we managed quite well, I think, which was cool.
Yeah.
How'd you manage the heat? What did you do to...
In 3 hours.
5 liters? Is that what you said?
I went through 1.4 liters an hour and 150 grams of carbs an hour.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That is a lot. Where do you put all the wrappers? Do you just dump in the feed zones? Is that what you do?
I dump in the feed zones, and we got very sticky pockets at the end.
Yeah.
This keeps me in the air.
Thank you.
I've actually considered not using pins and just putting some carb stool on the back of my number for the last few stages and just stick that back.
Multi-purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it. Zach, how about you? You've been heat training. Do you feel like you were all set and ready for this? Because it looks like other teams had a lot of backward movement today.
Yeah, I mean, it was, I think part of it's just managing your effort too. Like, no amount of heat training is going to make 105 degrees, 3 hours in feel good. But like, you can keep yourself from exploding, it appears. And yeah, like a lot of teams, some of the teams we didn't pass till like 15K to go. We put 10 minutes into them. They're just literally,
wow.
We come up on them and they just pull over, put a foot down. Like
we were passing bodies.
Yeah. So, and I think that's also.
Oh, wow. Like full on stopping level. Like they're at that point where they're.
Yeah.
Like thankful for the.
Oh my gosh.
Like, this is an excuse for me to just stop here for a second.
Yeah. And these are like teams that were, 45 minutes ahead of us before today or something like that. Maybe not 45, but solidly.
You just did stage 3. Looking at in terms of race days, you're not quite halfway. That comes tomorrow. But in terms of actual like time, you're also probably not quite halfway. You're almost there. Tomorrow will be the tipping point. Is this a strategy that you guys have in place? I mean, don't get me wrong. Like you said, Zach, I don't want you to have like revisionist history here and have you feel like, oh yeah, no, I was staying within myself, because you were completely boxed in the beginning. But considering how you're feeling now, are you banking on this sort of thing continuing to happen?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of different like thresholds, which, you have to train, heat, lactate, your VO2, that they're all working together at a certain, and for whatever reason, the beginning of the races are really tough on me right now. But I find that also is helping me cope with the end of stages, and I think it will help us cope with the end of the week too. So strategy from the get-go, definitely not. But a benefit at this point, I think yes.
We'll take it.
Yeah.
What was the course like today, Alex? Like, was it more single tracky? You seem to kind of stay in a bit more of a compact area.
Yeah, it was actually, I think, quite perfect for the strategy we have stumbled upon, because it was a lot of single track. And so out of the first 8 stations, there's a proper just open fire road climb, and it was single track for probably like 15 minutes after that. And I guarantee Zach put 5 minutes on some teams in that single track. It was absurd. Like by no means are we like hanging it out there, like trying to make up all this time. We're trying to be smooth, flowy, recover. And Zach is just piling at us past so many teams. It's absurd. It is the only way I can describe it. Like every time we go down, we bridge minutes.
That's amazing. Heck yeah. That's the cool thing about Cape Epic. I think there's this understanding that it's just a fire road race, and it's not. Like it's and I don't know what your situation, every race is slightly different. I know for ours, it was predominantly single track. You had a lot of farm roads, all that stuff, but it was in terms of time spent on course, it was predominantly single track. It's a proper mountain biker's race.
No, for sure. Yeah. I think we were told that at the beginning, and then we get at the top of the first climb, we see a black diamond logo. We're like, sweet, time to ride bikes. And then we descend down the road. So we were questioning it ourselves there at the beginning, but we found some single track a little bit later. So
yeah, with it being our major strength, like we want more.
Yeah.
We'll say that, but yeah, it's we'll take the amount that we're getting, and it's been fun.
And I feel like there's like,
Sure.
we kind of race around similar teams now for the last few days. So I think there's like a level of knowledge and almost respect now of like, we have less resistance to like us coming by. We passed a team that we've passed before on the descent, and they were super cool about just being like, yep. Like we've kind of shown that we can do it. And they're like, this can just go by now.
It's only going to make them faster if they have you guys going in front of them. They're understanding that, right? Whereas you guys on the climbs, there might be some other duos that that like, go ahead. Like you guys go ahead up this climb. It's kind of funny how that happens in these stage races, right? Where you start to build like frenemies almost with these other people that you constantly pass back and forth throughout the day.
Yeah.
I think maybe they thought that on the first day, but I think every time they see Zach now, they're just like, you have a nice life.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead. Carry on. This is when we look at this area that you're at, was there a lot of granite? And I'm leading somewhere with this question, but was there a lot of granite in the trail? I know it's a really cool looking area because just these gigantic granite boulders, huge ones, contiguous boulders that exist up there. Was there a lot of granite in the trail, a lot of rock that you were hitting?
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of whiskey, that kind of kitty litter, kind of tiptoe a little bit around the corners. Like there's a fine edge. You grab a little too much brake and you'll find the ground very quickly.
Reason I'm asking that is because looking ahead to tomorrow, we have a change in the weather. Instead of 104 degrees like you guys had today, well, really, really hot, over 40 degrees Celsius, it's changing. It's still going to be warm tomorrow. You're going to be somewhere around 30 degrees Celsius, maybe even a bit higher at the peak of your race. But then toward the end of tomorrow, rain starts to come in. It rains a significant amount overnight. And then the following stage, there's chance for things to be muddy, and you guys are transferring out of there. But tomorrow, if the weather changes and you get some rain, do you guys anticipate any slickness on those? Because granite is known for being pretty slick in those conditions.
It wasn't a lot of like, there was a few exposed rock sections, but it was more dirt than it was like proper granite rock rolls. Like there was definitely a few, but I'd say not enough to make me worried about sliding on them.
Yeah, I'd be more worried about clay necessarily than like wet rocks. That's super slippery.
Yeah. It's looking like tomorrow, and we'll just go into tomorrow's stage here. So it's stage 4, 80 kilometers or 50 miles. And man, when you look at just the numbers, it looks like it's a walk in the park compared to yesterday, because instead of 2,500 meters, you're going to be climbing 1,950 meters or climbing 6,397 feet, which is still a massive amount of climbing. And then when you look at the profile, you go, oh boy, it's a bit different than the previous day. Whereas on a stage like you had today, you had multiple climbs all throughout. This one has predominantly one large ascent, lots of little spikes to the side of it, but predominantly one dominant ascent that you're going to have. It comes a little bit later in the day. It's likely to be pretty toasty. It's rated as being a hard stage, but it's in the same zone that you were in yesterday. Looks like maybe a bit more farmland stuff that you guys have in between with one big climb up. What are the thoughts for tomorrow? Any changes in approach or strategy?
Zach loves himself some farmland, so I think I'm just going to take him on the front, see how he descends those farmlands.
Oh my gosh, the farmlands.
Yeah.
Zach, tell us about them. Why are they your absolute favorite thing?
Yeah, I mean, we've gone over it, but it's it's this area where it's there's been crosswinds. I can't really get a draft. Alex is riding stronger than me,
It's like a
and
freaking
it's like
tornado.
I'm giving her to be on the wheel, and it's like I should be getting a draft, and I mean, maybe I'm getting a little draft, but it doesn't feel like I am. So that's where I'm suffering for
I
sure.
don't know if we told this story, but I could have sworn that it was a headwinds. And I just hear Zach from behind. I'm getting no draft. And I'm just so confused by this wind to the point that it was in the TT. It's so nice to have riders in front of us, I was telling Zach, because I can see the wind blow the dust one way or the other.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's just,
And when you're not boxed, like when you're really feeling it, you get like a sixth sense of like where exactly you need to be for most protection.
Finds that
But
pocket.
when you're not, it's like, oh yeah, it's windy, whatever. So it's different perspectives out there.
Nothing makes you become a finely tuned instrument. You are a wind sensor when
Yeah.
you're boxed and you're trying to find draft.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it looks like you're going to turn a lot of every single possible direction in that farmland tomorrow. Looks like you're making a lot of squares and circles out there.
We'll find
So as a
out.
result, no matter which way the wind goes, you're going to get a fair shake of it, no matter what. And with a storm coming in, that sort of thing, yeah, it might be windy tomorrow. Any changes to the bike or equipment that you've made over the last couple days?
Proud to announce my rear wheel. I used it today. It is perfectly fine. So congrats for Evolve.
Amazing.
I was actually pretty impressed by that because Zach will attest I did not baby that, and I was definitely pedaling with a little anger through those last 6Ks yesterday. So I was properly impressed. I did put on the last gen Renegade grid because it's one that I had and I'd ridden in Arkansas and just knew it's bulletproof. I don't think what happened to the current tire would have been saved by having this tire, to be honest, because it just went insta flat, and I think we just found something very, very sharp. But it also seemed to help today because the old one has slightly higher knobs, so it felt like I had a little more dig, which is a weird way to have more grip in the rear than in the front, but it was nice. And I actually felt like the new one in the front was super good. We were flying down some like bermy trails, and the kitty litter, I feel like since the knobs are now a little less high on the air track, it connected pretty well. Like I wasn't sliding around too much. So that's the only thing we changed, but that was more of a necessity than a strategery.
You should.
Yeah, that larger contact patch can help in those situations where the surface is likely to move, right?
Yeah.
And so that's a helpful thing. How about you, Zach? Anything you've changed?
No, I have not changed anything the whole time.
And we've both held on to our
Nice.
3/8 tooth, so our egos are not checked at the door. We're
Fully fat.
it's just the big boys. We were not just off at this point. Wish we made it halfway. But.
There we go. Well, I guess then in that case, we'll circle back to that 38 tooth chainring when we talk about the Queen stage. It looks like there's a section called the neck, which looks like it'll go for your necks. So pretty steep, pretty gnarly. It's going to be great. Looking forward to tomorrow. Everybody go and follow Zach and Alex on their social channels. You can find them on Instagram. That's linked down below in the description. If you have questions or encouragement for Zach and Alex, please share it. You can do that also in the YouTube comments down below, and go to cyclesport.com, use the code CAPEEPIC, and then 10% of whatever you buy there at Cyclesport ends up going to help cover the costs that Zach and Alex have outlaid to be able to do this race, which is a pretty fantastic thing of Cyclesport to do. And Cyclesport has made it possible that these athletes can be there. That's pretty amazing. So go support them. Guys, incredible work, and great luck on tomorrow. Hopefully a bit of a change in the weather.
Thanks.
Thanks, Jonathan.